All right, class, welcome to week number 9. That is right, week number 9 of your academic libraries class, which is ISLD 9443. As always, I am your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and this week we are actually going to do a rather short check-in video. I will keep it real. The reason that we are going to do this short check-in video is because advising is kicking up, and then I've also, in addition to my regular duties, in addition to advising, I've also got some e-portfolio business to tend to, and I'll be reviewing applications to the program this week. So this is going to be quite a busy week for me, so we are going to do a shorter check-in video this week. This one will be probably no more than 15 minutes. I'm going to give you the resources of what I'm going to talk about this week, and then which is going to be residencies, internships, and fellowship programs with academic libraries. But then once I give you the resources and make you all aware that these things exist, I am going to leave it up to you to do your own research and legwork and decide if a residency program may be for you. And we are going to do that after after I do a few course updates. I'm going to try to keep this under 15 minutes, but we will see how that goes. So let's get into those course updates now. First thing that I need you all to know is that, yes, your first essay assignment was due on Sunday night. Where is it? All right, so it is right there. Essay assignment number 1 was due on Sunday night, Sunday the 17th. If you have not turned this in, then you will have to take some late point deductions for having not turned it in by the due date. However, I would say still go ahead and turn it in. You will at least get partial credit, and you can refer to the syllabus to see what those late point penalties are going to be, but try to turn it in as soon as possible if you haven't already. It is better to get some credit or most credit than to get no credit. So just because you missed the deadline, that does not mean that you shouldn't turn it in at all. Please turn it in. So that is the case there. And so your next assignment is okay, I decided I better just pull up the syllabus for this. So your next actual written assignment actually isn't due until December 17th, and that's going to be your case study assignment. So at the moment, what you can mostly do is focus on your readings and your discussion boards, and you can also, but keep in mind that next Thursday, actually, which is October 28th, you will have a synced session. So make plans to be at that synced session. And I believe that synced session is going to be Julia Pluta coming in to talk to the class. Yes, so Julia Pluta with UMKC Law Libraries will be coming in to speak to us next Thursday night about law librarianship. And especially if you've already got a law degree, this might be an area of academic librarianship that you might want to consider. So keep that in mind. But you will, it will be 5 points for attending that sync session. So yes, you do need to be there or else you will miss those 5 points. And then your case study final will be due on December 17th. So things are actually going to be kind of relaxed in here, just discussion boards and preparing for that final. For the rest of the duration of the course. I hope that doesn't make you think that the course is too easy or doesn't have enough work in it. But the course as I inherited, and I have made a lot of course adjustments since inheriting this from John Budd. But still, the course is not as demanding as a lot of other courses work-wise. And I wanted this to just kind of be a laid-back elective because we are still in COVID times, and so I don't want you all to stress out with an elective. So that's the reason for that. But yes, if you feel that the class is too easy or doesn't have enough work, let me know that. You can let me know that in the discussion board. You can let me know that by email, or if you don't want to reveal who you are when you say that, you can let me know that in the course evaluation. So yes, things are going to be kind of smooth from now on. Mostly focus on those discussion boards, which you do have a prompt every single week, but you will have that case study final, which will be a 4th of your grade. And from there, we do have 2 sync sessions, and I think you're going to enjoy the 2 sync sessions that we have. Okay, so now that we have done that, let's talk about fellowships and residencies and so forth. Okay, so I am going to bring you to this page, and I'm going to have you all pretty much engage in some self-directed learning here. But if you want to learn more about residencies and internships and fellowships within academic libraries, then the first place you probably want to go is the ACRL, which ACRL stands for the Association of College and Research Libraries. You can go to the ACRL Residency Interest Group, and you can actually, that's the URL there, but you can also just Google ACRL Residency Interest Group, and it will take you to this page. So what are residencies and fellowships and internships? So this gets into, all right, so I'm going to try to keep this at 9 minutes, or try to keep the spiel at 9 minutes. But first things first, for those of you who don't know what a residency is, think of that, if you all remember, there used to be this TV show, this sitcom called Scrubs. And this sitcom called Scrubs, it focused on some characters who were actually involved in a medical residency at a hospital. And we have borrowed that concept and that terminology for libraries. So an academic residency, excuse me, an academic library residency is it's specifically a 1 to 4 year temporary job that you can get, temporary full-time job that you can get as an academic librarian, as an entry-level academic librarian with with librarian rank. And the purpose is for those who have earned an MLS or an MLIS to get actual real work experience during the residency, and maybe also do a few things like complete a project or something like that, complete a capstone or something. And that is to make the resident a bit more competitive on the job market, okay? So when you come out of library school, if you don't have any actual library experience and you don't have any connections, it might be hard for you to land that first job and get your foot in the door. And so residencies are designed in order to alleviate that. So residencies are designed to sort of give you some work experience, and most of them are 2 years, 2-year temporary full-time positions, and they give you some practical work experience beyond to kind of couple with the sort of I would say the theoretical and the coursework that you guys are getting with the coursework that you've got here at CISL. So this is to make you more competitive, to give you some actual hard skills, some experience, and to help you land that permanent librarian position that you are going for. And there are residencies all over the country. In fact, from this page, if you go to programs, then there's a map of active programs, and then you can view it on a larger map. And there are some that are inactive here, and some of these may be active again in the future. But these are some opportunities for you to actually get some real work experience, and to make yourself more competitive for that permanent librarian position. You have some directories over here. Recent job postings. Let's see if there is anything recent. Yeah. So actually, I was in this residency. I was in the UNC Greensboro residency. That was my first that was my first librarian job, was to be a resident at UNC Greensboro. We also see that Western Carolina has one, but you'll find this. I know the first two that pop out at you are in North Carolina, but okay, so then we've got Bucknell and Northwestern and so forth. So you've got residencies that are all over the country, and different residencies have their residents do different things, and there are a lot of considerations that you would need to take into account to see if a residency is for you. So for instance, some residencies are specifically diversity residencies, and those are specifically for people who are either ethnic minorities or BIPOC, people of color, or they are for people who are differently abled. So a lot of times your other elements of diversity, unfortunately, typically do not fit into those categories, in part because those people don't seem to be as severely underrepresented. So a lot of times, like for instance, if you got special sort of diversity positions, they might be specifically for women, or they might be specifically for the LGBTQ plus community, or things of that nature. But in this case, those populations aren't quite as underrepresented in libraries as the differently abled and as non-white populations. So that's why the focus tends to be there. But not all residencies are diversity residencies, so also keep that in mind. And in fact, I co-wrote a book with Jay Colbert, who's very well known and very well respected in the library science field. And Jay is white, but Jay was in a residency at the University of Utah that did not have a diversity component. So I don't want you all to think that this doesn't apply to you, because you see, like, you will see a lot of diversity residency programs and you'll see the advertisements for those. I don't want you all to be turned off because you think that all of them have this diversity component. They do not. So yes, that is... I'm sorry. So yeah, that is one thing that you want to consider if you want to figure out if a residency is right for you. Also, you do have to take into account what you will be expected to do in a residency. Some residencies require the resident to complete programs. I mean, not complete programs. Some residencies require the resident to complete like capstone projects and things like that. Some do not. Some residencies are 1 year, some 2, some 3, some 4. Some residencies are built or designed to try to get the resident into the academic library that they're serving after the residency, and then some make no such attempt to get the resident full-time permanent with the institution afterwards. So these are all things to consider, and they're all fair questions to ask on the interview. Okay, so those are some things that you will want to keep in mind. When you see the terminology of internship, usually an internship is actually versus something that's post-MLS or post-MLIS. Usually internship is actually going to be performed by somebody who's still at the graduate student level. Also, most internships are not full-time. Some of them are, but most of them are not. However, I will say that unless you just have the privilege, I would say don't take an internship that's unpaid, okay? Your labor is worth something even at the student level. So a lot of times you will see internships that do not pay. If you can stay away from those, by all means do so, because you are entitled to money for your labor and your time. And I do not like these institutions that actually try to convince their interns to work for free as if the work experience is their compensation. That's bullshit. You should be able to, now if you had it like that, like if you, like for instance, if you still live with your parents or something like that and you don't have to actually work or anything of that nature, and you can take an unpaid internship, I guess by all means do so. But most of you are not going to have that privilege. And again, I just feel that is taking advantage of people who are looking to get their themselves established and get their feet in the door. So you got that in mind. Okay, this is going to be 20 minutes because I've got some other things I want to say. And then fellowships actually encompass a wide variety of things. You have fellowships for people who are still at the grad student level, and you have fellowships for those who have finished their degree and are looking for post-degree work experiences. But fellowships also tend to be 1 to 2 years. A lot of times those are endowed, and a lot of times the fellowships are they do have a capstone project or a specific purpose, such as helping a lead librarian, for instance, complete an archival project or something like that. So that's something to keep in mind with your fellowships. But these are all, I would say, good options to try to get your first bit of work experience. However, there are some things that you are going to have to keep in mind. They're not all positive experiences. So for instance, a lot of residents have complained that they were not given opportunities to actually do work that was professional level. It felt like they were just like a lot of residents have said that they just felt like overpaid. Well, not overpaid, but they just felt like interns who were they just felt like they were interns who were doing work that any grad student would be expected to do, or anyone who didn't have the degree would be expected to do. So make sure that you are getting a lot of work experience, a lot of professional work experience in your residency, and make sure that you are, make sure that you are being given actual substantial work that that isn't just work that's being dumped on you because other people don't want to do it. And there are residencies that do that, that will just dump the busy work or the chump work that nobody else wants to do. They'll dump that right on you. And we don't want that to happen to you all. We want your residency experiences to be experiences that help you get to your next position. At this time, I am going to, first, I'm going to share some other resources with you. I would encourage you to explore this site and learn a bit more about residencies from here. You can also learn about internships and fellowships from here. There are some things that I want to point you to, and this might sound self-serving, because I am author of both of these things, or at least a co-author of both of these things, but I promise you I'm doing this for you, not for me. So there are two works if you want to learn more about residency programs that I would direct you to. One is Developing a Residency Program, A Practical Guide for Librarians. This is a book that I co-wrote again with Jay Colbert, who, again, as I just said, is very, very well known in the field, very well respected, and a former resident at the University of Utah. And there was no diversity component to Jay's residency experience. And then also Lorelei Rutledge was the lead author, and Anastasia Shu also helped out and did a wonderful job. The reason I'm listed last is because, quite frankly, I did the least work out of all of this, but that's because these three actually started the project of writing this book without me, and then they invited me along once they read my dissertation. But this is something good for you to kind of read over. And you can probably check this out, get it on Interlibrary Loan, or get it from a library that has it if your library holds it. And this does, even though it says a practical guide for developing a residency program, trust me, there's a lot of great information in here for people who are interested in becoming residents to learn. So I would recommend reading over this to learn more about residencies and what to ask about if you are applying to become a resident. And the next thing that I wanted to show you is my dissertation, which you can read online for free. So if you put in Jason Austin Herzberg, then my dissertation comes up. And my dissertation is Causes of Satisfaction and Dissatisfaction for Diversity Resident Librarians, a mixed method study using Herzberg's motivation hygiene theory. And you can download my entire dissertation. It's open access. If you come to this page in Scholar Commons, you can just download this. I have a lot more downloads than I realized, but you can just download this entire thing and read it. And again, this captures a lot of the concerns specifically of diversity resident librarians, but a lot of these concerns will be shared by people who are in internships, fellowships, and residencies in general, even if they don't have the specific diversity components. So I would recommend you do a quick read of this as well to learn a little bit more if you think that a residency might be of interest to you. But then also I would say that even just reading the abstract can get your mind going and help you learn some of the things that you may need to know in order to be successful as a diversity resident. I mean, not as a diversity resident librarian, but as a resident librarian, some of the things that you want to keep in mind to make sure you go into a program that's a good fit. I am almost at 20 minutes, so let me do this last thing pretty quickly here. What I wanted to do was also just, okay, here we go. As far as the job postings, okay, so what I would recommend you all do is, another thing to do if you want to learn more about residency programs is, yes, to just find some residency program job listings or job postings. Look at the job posting and see what's going to be expected of you, what you would be doing, and what the qualifications are. And that will help with some vocational guidance as well. If you look at a bunch of residency job postings, then you will start to get a good feel of some of the commonalities between different residency programs, and you will get a hint of probably how to interview successfully for one. Okay, so I am going to, man, I did go over 20 minutes. I am going to cut it off here. And yes, if you have any questions about residency programs beyond this, you feel free to email me and we can talk about that. So with that said, I'm going to leave it right there. I am Dr. Jace, and please do not dance on the number of a fallen football player as Jackson Mahomes did, because that is a disgrace. So there you go. Peace out. Love you guys, and I will see you. Oh, we will not have a check-in video next week because of the sync session. So I will see you next week in the sync session on Thursday night, and we will be back for a check-in video in week 11. Ta-ta!